guys, as always, thanks for stopping by. So the NRA still doesn't get it, plus a question that I want answered, and I'm going to ask y'all to help me out with that. Yep, let's talk about that. Got another fairly fast one for you. I'm going to push this through in case you want to share it once again, so no ads on my part today. Thank you to each of y'all for, stopping by. I do appreciate that, and also for every thumbs up as well. Appreciate that. Met a lot of new folks over the last 24 hours. A bunch of people have jumped in. So welcome aboard. Channel's about freedom and the Constitution. I believe this republic is worth saving, and that's what we're all about here, is a whole bunch of freedom, so buckle up. All right, so there's a lot going on right now. I went through all of kind of my usual rounds today, looking at what people are talking about, and it's pretty quiet on some levels. There's a lot going on, but as far as the 2A and what's going on right now, it's pretty much contained to the HR 127. I've already shared a video right now that I think is everything that you need to know about HR 127. I'll put it up here in one of the corners. It'll pop up. HR 127, people are talking about, of course, the child sniffer and his letter or press release that came out on Sunday. I covered that yesterday. People are talking about that. The National Review today released an article, it's an opinion piece, that it's time to get the National Guard off of Capitol Hill. I don't think there was ever reason to put them there. Something going on in D.C., but people are talking about that. And then also two things. Utah, this is good news. Utah has now signed permitless carry or permitless carry. And you can CCW in Utah as long as you are a legal standing citizen or an upstanding citizen. And Governor Cox has signed that in Utah. Fantastic. Constitutional carry is now law. And in Tennessee, the bill, House Bill 0018, has now been presented. It does have the backing of Governor Lee. Go figure, Governor Lee doing something well. But that's on the boards in Tennessee. So that's about all that's being talked about right now. There's a few other things going on. The big one, of course, is Sunday's letter from the press in the White House. That, of course, is nasty. And then again, HR 127. And that gets pretty thin after that. And there's a lot of other stuff going on. I'm going to be covering an overview on Thursday during the Thursday Buzz. And then while I was going through my rounds, I stumbled into, or I checked out, and I do regularly, the NRA-ila. If you're not familiar with the ILA, it's the legislative arm of the NRA. It's the Institute for Legislative Action. It's the NRA-ila, easy to find on the DuckDuckGo. And I shouldn't be disappointed at this point. However, I am. They still don't get it. And I think they don't get it that they don't get it, if that makes sense. There's another level to it. They are not just clueless, they're also clueless that they're totally, completely lost. They had an article that came up week before last that said Sniffin' Joe is preparing a sneak attack on your freedoms. Why does that fire me up? It is the most rooted, deeply rooted 2A rights organization in America. It's by far the largest. They're the most vocal and the ones that have more microphones than anybody. They do get the attention of the mainstream. And yet they're talking about a sneak attack after a full multi-year campaign where he has point by point, the child sniffer, point by point by point, told us what he was going to do. There is no sneak attack. This has been planned for months, if not years, in the making. And yet they have a choice, being the NRA-ila. And the NRA-ila, to be fair, does do some really good stuff. They are worth following and checking out. I can't believe I said something positive about the NRA, but it is about this one single arm, their ILA. And yet, in the middle of all of this, they could deal with the reality of what we are facing today, which is a major battle that we are moving into here in 21. This is the big one. I'm not being slippery slope. I'm not being dramatic. This is the reality of what we face. Do they share and present and live in that reality? No. They move towards emotion and making stuff up and having sensationalism and a fear-driven narrative that does what? Anyone? Raises money. Of course, that's what it's always about with the NRA. My point is this, they don't get it. They are still using fear tactics rather than living in reality. We know that we're in a fight. We know that what we're going to be up against in the coming months and years is unprecedented. We know that they are playing for serious keeps on this one, and their job and what they have put themselves in to do in office right now, this regime, they have made it their job to disarm you and to disarm me. They're unequivocal about that. You can call me a fearmonger. I'm not. The NRA-ila certainly is. A sneak attack. That verbiage is off the chart. It's just wrong. It's not where we should be as a people. Now, given what's going on this past couple days in the White House and Sniffin' Joe finally putting out there that the child sniffer is going to go after all of our freedoms, I asked the question yesterday, and I didn't do it in a way that elicited a response from y'all. I asked it rhetorically yesterday. I'm going to ask you today, who in D.C. is going to stand for us? I think it's very, very thin. Now, I did say this yesterday that we do have a bunch of spineless elephants parading in Washington who are literally doing nothing besides campaigning for their next re-election. I think the list is very thin. So I'm asking you today, who do we have on our side? Who do you trust in D.C. right now? I'm going to throw out a couple names. I don't really know. I don't have full enthusiasm, but on a lot of levels, I really like Matt Gaetz right now. I know that some of y'all will have some pushback on that, but I think he's got a spine. I do. I think Matt Gaetz has a spine. And this next one I think is important, because when we move into these battles that are coming with our freedoms, we are going to need to filibuster. It's unfortunate. I wish these guys and gals would fight when we didn't have to filibuster. But we do know this, that Rand Paul is willing to put on tennis shoes and stand there for 10 hours and filibuster. And I think we're going to need it. So I think Rand Paul's not willing to lay down really easy. I think he is willing to stand up and filibuster when we need it. So far, so good on Lauren Boebert. I don't know if she's got that much pull. Your power in D.C. is not in your vote. It's in what committees that you're a member of, and you're standing on those committees. If you lead a committee, that's a big one. So she's a part of very little right now. That's my question of the day for all of y'all. Who do we have that's standing for us? To anyone that's against us or our rights, from my cold, dead hands. Bye.